Good evening, demons. How is everybody doing today? We still have... Okay, good. We still have audio. I only realized about music is a tad louder than me. There we go. That should be a lot. I'll turn back up a little bit. Because the music is just this loud on the title screen. So yeah, it's Women Wednesday. I hope everybody's doing good. We're revisiting Twofold, which we finished earlier this year in, I want to say, February? How is it already June, by the way? Like chronologically, my brain is kind of stuck in the mentality it was when I was like on my own for like 5 weeks. But no, it's not February/March anymore, it's fucking June. Don't you just hate the passage of time? I think January to February is Twofold. Oh, awesome, thank you. Hope no one's gonna go getting themselves in trouble at work while watching my stream. I want y'all to have fun, but I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But yeah, so before we did Millie's side of the story. Now, I'm not saying root because it's not a change. Like, the events of the story, I don't think change. It's just which perspective you're seeing it from, whether it's Millie or now Caprice. As long as my work is done and it is, they don't care. Hell yeah. So yeah, so for those who don't know or who need a refresher, so the main character, Olive, non-binary college student, voiced by the same person who voiced Miho in Let's Be Happy, or Please Be Happy. Let's Be Happy. Yeah, let's be happy. Wow. It kind of sounds like, hey, let's do drugs. And if you want some juicy VTuber information, I'll talk about it in my server. I don't want to talk about it on stream, but like, that person has another VTubing job. Yeah, so Olive is very just kind of like deadpan, a very practical person. What? Yeah, I'll put it in there later when stream's done. So yeah, Olive is a very kind of like, just do shit and get it done kind of person, but also, is a struggling student and deals with depression. This is, if you haven't seen the previous streams for this is the most like down-to-earth normal story, I think, from Studio Elan or games that have been published by them. Because I believe this, I can't remember the devs for this one. Previous streams of this was very nice, yeah, and now it's going to be a lot more hyperactive because Olive, being a struggling student, needs to do one like creative art course to be able to graduate college. Their choices are between writing and like art like drawing, painting stuff. Or we took the writing class. Now we're taking the art class, And the art class, well, yeah, the art class route involves a very hyperactive little ADHD gremlin who I'm sure we're all going to come to adore, um, named Caprice. But for now, let's just jump into.
College will open new paths for you, is what my mom had always said. I took those words to heart, despite my usual cynicism. Even as my high school friends drifted away from me over the years, and the stresses of moving out and living alone mountain, I continued to believe in them. Then came today. The meeting with the advisor was never going to go well. Academic probation isn't a term thrown around in good circumstances. Even with all that, a 1.2 GPA was a surprise. 5 whole credits. After cruising through school before college, it feels like a bad joke when I repeat his coldly delivered words in my head. My heart sinking, I finally closed the door behind me. A chapter of my life closes with it.
Walking by the bike propped up against the wall, I shiver from the chill of fall running through my apartment. The practically non-existent insulation does little to keep the cold out, nor the noise. Without a roommate to share the space with, there's little to hear but the occasional passing traffic. I hardly mind. Solitude is more comfortable anyway. Unfortunately for me, that same silence makes me focus all the more on my failure. Upon reaching the living room, I simply stop. It's not like this should be out of left field. I'd stopped checking my grades on the school website, knowing full well that the hours eaten up by work would take their toll. Between working late and studying early, it's all I could do to not fall asleep during lectures. Denial. That's all it was. Now it's caught up to me, and I have no real way out. What do I do now? For all I've tried to avoid burdening my mom, neither of us could possibly afford another semester or so of college if I failed out. I shuffle to the kitchen counter and grab a glass of water to calm my nerves. With little else available to distract myself from what I should be doing, I step over the fern on the sill and slowly drizzle the pebbles around it with water. I'm surprised it's still alive after all this time, having bought it when I moved here. Managed to take care of a plant feels like a bad consolation prize, given everything else I've messed up. All I can do is sigh and appreciate the chance to wind down a little by caring for the thing. With the soil darkened and leaves shining from the droplets of water, I put down the glass and fall back onto the couch. Might as well get this over with. I fish the phone from my pocket and navigate to my mom in the contacts list. And I press the call button. Anxious seconds go by as it rings before she finally picks up.
Hello?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Olive. How's it going?
I just got back from talking to my advisor.
What did he say?
Her cheery tone drops a little. She must have heard the defeat in my own voice.
I have a 1.2 GPA. Only 5 credits.
I feel like I'm deflating as I sink further into my couch. I thought I'd be scared or frustrated at how bad this is, but that's worn off and become a dull emptiness.
Oh, honey.
The last tone of voice I wanted to hear was that sweet, concerned voice. It'd be so much easier if she just yelled at me, a sentiment I've thought more than once.
It's okay. This doesn't mean the end. I know someone as smart as my Ollie can find a way.
If I pulled off a decent GPA and passed all my classes and managed full credits for them, I'd still end up short. He did try to give me some options, but
See, there you go.
I don't know if they'll do any good, Mom. It's an intro art class and a creative writing class. He even said they're basically filler.
It sounds like it's something you should try, don't you think? You could easily tackle either of those.
I've never been good at that kind of stuff. You know that.
You can only give your best shot. I think that's more than enough. You've been through harder trials in your life, and you've overcome those, and you're so much stronger for it. What this means is that there's hope.
Hope. I really wish I could believe her on that one. This is one hell of a long shot. I did fine in topics like science and math back in high school. I've never had an inkling of creativity. The art scene is also the last place I'd want to be anywhere near. Passing one of the two courses should give me barely enough credits to pass. Barely understates things. And again, a pass is a pass. And skipping a semester isn't an option financially. Mom would doubtlessly do her best to help cover the costs. A fact that puts a knot in my stomach. All this is just trying to rationalize away one simple fact. She's right.
I'll do my best. Sorry for putting you through this.
Honey, you don't need to apologize. I know there's a lot going on. I know you're doing what you can. You always have me on your side. Your advisor wants you to succeed too. That's why he gave you this option. I know you can do this. I'll see you at work in a couple of days. We can talk about this more there, okay? I know it's easier said than done, but try not to stress yourself out too much about all this. Maybe you can make yourself something to take your mind off things. It's nearly dinner time after all, so make something nice for yourself.
It's a better solution than drowning my worries in some greasy fast food. As much as I'd love to take the easy way out of any additional responsibilities tonight.
Alright. I'll try. See you.
Bye, Olive. I love you. Just remember that tomorrow's another day.
Love you too.
With that, the line goes dead. The big moment is over. I rest the phone on the coffee table before me. Starting tomorrow, I'll have all of 1 week to decide on one of the two classes. A class that'll decide whether I get a college education or stay stuck in this rut for probably the rest of my life. All I have to do is pass an art or English class to do it. As the silence of the apartment starts gnawing at the back of my mind, I decide to get up and start preparing that dinner to distract myself. And here we get to see our 4 main characters. The next day. Today marks the beginning of the experiment, a drop period for The drop period for classes ends next week, and so, at my advisor's suggestion, I've signed up for both the art and English lessons. Plan is to sit in on both, decide which is best for me, and drop the other. I only need one to survive, and I'd rather not stuff my already full schedule any more than I have to. So here I am, sitting in art class. I've gone back and forth on this all day, oscillating between, I don't have an ounce of creativity, there's no way I can do this, and it's just drawing, right? Could it be so hard?
And from there, we will cover the Futurist movement, which after its founding in 1909...
I think I've settled on there's no way for now. Try as I might to take proper notes, I have no idea what I'm writing down.
Psst.
Ah, the first interaction with our gremlin. A movement in the corner of my eye and a small chirpy voice beside me aren't helping.
Hey!
The thing in my peripheral vision is shoved further into view. Glancing over shows it to be an open notebook, which I try to tune out. The notebook slides back and forth in response, tapping my own book as I try to write. Grimacing only spurs them on, now sure that they have my attention. What do they want from me? I lightly slap my hand down on the paper, stopping their movements. Far from being discouraged, the culprit beams back at me as I glance over. It's a Caprice. Cast against the window beyond her, the girl smiles cheerfully. The two of us couldn't look more different as I stare wearily at her, the sun behind her paling in comparison to her own bright nature. She gives me a thumbs up of encouragement, earning a bemused, furrowed brow. I might as well humor her at this point. Hey, you look pretty lost. You doing okay? You need some help? And they're little otter dudes. With all of them. That's so cute. I raise my tired eyes back to the author, only for her to resume her thumbs up pose. Is she genuinely interested in helping, or just making fun of me? Just trying to focus. Would it be too rude to add that she's only making it harder? I decide against it and slide it back. Yeah, I know it's hard. This guy teaches it so boring. But listen! Listen, chat! I know all about this stuff. I can help you if you want. I look at my syllabus on my desk in front of me, full of names and terms of concepts I know nothing about. Class isn't just drawing at all. It covers everything from art history to social movements. My heart sinks at the sheer breadth of knowledge that'll be needed. The professor's droning lecture is soon lost on me as my attention wanders to her notebook. Though she's dedicated the full page to this conversation, I can make out various notes about art bleeding through the back of the page, even if the handwriting is hard to decipher. My eyes drifting further, I notice another book sitting on her desk. An open sketchbook this time, its pages covered with drawings of this and that. That's in addition to the doodles in the notes she's been passing me. Yeah, give me more little otter dude. I'll be fine. Poorly erased, scratched out. Okay, sure. This class must be perfect for someone like her.
Yes!
Caprice, shut up. Upon reading my note, she suddenly shouts aloud in excitement. All I can do is freeze at the attention of the entire class, including the professor, is instantly drawn to her.
Yes. Caprice. Is there something you need?
Almost sounds like he's doing an H. John Benjamin voice. Except mine doesn't sound very good. It always sounds like it's just him with a cold. Tag does a killer H. John Benjamin voice. His pronounced sigh makes it all too obvious that he knows this particular student altogether too well.
Just excited and ready to learn. Is there something you need?
I need you to stay quiet while I'm talking. If that's okay with you.
Bitch, shut up!
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
She gives an exaggerated salute, which seems to satisfy him. There are a few quiet giggles around the class, not that she seems to care. She turns and sees me watching, which prompts her to give yet another thumbs up. After a moment's scribbling to give yet another note in the corner of her page. Let's talk after class. I know just how I can help you. I'm Caprice, by the way, and she drew herself doing a little wave. Is precious. She signs the note, even though I've already caught her name from the professor saying it. I figure I might as well reply one last time. Thanks. I'm Olive. I have no idea the kind of person I've just agreed to talk to. Is she normally the type to pass notes and shout out during class? This time, like, what? Tripping over myself. The last time I remember communicating like this is in elementary school. The rest of the class goes by uneventfully, for better or worse. I try my best to take notes and follow along, but by the end, the professor's ramblings and tangents end up overwhelming me.
Olive!
Before I can even leave the classroom, I'm accosted by my new acquaintance. I had planned on waiting for her outside the door.
Olive, right? Olive?
That's right.
She likes to say it a few times to get it stuck in her head.
I'm Caprice. Nice to finally talk.
She extends a hand, which I take. Her shake is surprisingly firm and fast, my arm being yanked around by the slight figure before me. Yep, tiny little ball of sunshine.
Yeah, so...
So, listen. I'm the president of the art club here on campus.
Oh.
Well, not the art club, but one of the art clubs. The better one. Forget about that other one. In fact, forget I mentioned it. There's only one art club, and it's mine.
Okay, Caprice. Oh no.
And you see, we're looking for members. Any level of skill will do. The best way to learn art is to work alongside your peers.
Hey.
So if you're looking for help, there's really no better way than to join our art club. We're all pretty much good artists who can definitely teach you anything you need to know. I can even offer you personal lessons. That's a generous offer from the club president, you know.
Oh my god, stop being a dweeb. I have to stop this. I'm not looking for a club or anything like this.
Thank you. But I think I'll pass.
Oh no.
Aww, a sad puppy. You could literally stick the friggin' like puppy ears on top of her hat and it would look totally fucking normal.
I came on too strong. I'm sorry. Don't worry about all that stuff I said. do think we could help you, though.
I appreciate the offer, really, but I just don't think...
I'm not asking you to join. Just maybe come by sometime. Oh, I know! I'll set up a club meeting for you to scope out. I'll let the others know to expect you once we can decide on a date. No strings attached. I think you'd fit right in.
Neat? I can already tell she won't relent until I give in. I sigh. She's not gonna let me go until I offer some kind of compromise.
Okay, sure. I'll give it some thought.
Awesome! Trust me, it'll be great! Anyway, I gotta go. See you around, Olive!
Too close, too close. She pats me on the shoulder and runs out, leaving me in her dust. If I don't go, she'll definitely confront me about it next class. I'm not looking for a club to join, though. And I'd rather not deal with someone so high energy. Maybe sitting in won't hurt? I'll worry about this later. I've got places to get to as well. The next day. The afternoon shift at the diner has proven to be a slow one, much to my relief. With Mom off for the day and the rest of the staff otherwise unavailable, I find myself idly flipping through my art textbook at an empty booth. The contents are overwhelming compared to what I expected from a class like this, and I have to constantly remind myself that courses like this typically rely on participation and effort more than anything. Still hard to not stress out about it as my eyes glaze over foreign terms and information, though. The small chime of the bell puts me out of my trance as a customer sneaks through the door without me noticing. I bounce to my feet to greet her, trying my best to hide how off guard I feel.
Hey, welcome to the Bell House. Party of one?
Bell House. I go to retrieve a menu for the woman as she turns to meet me.
3, actually. My roommates should be in shortly. They're just wrapping up a conversation out in the car.
Got it. Booth it is then. Right this way.
Oh, Millie. Her story was so good. I take a few steps further into the diner, ready to lead her to a spot near the back. I only make it a couple of feet before a voice interrupts my train of thought.
Hey Millie, catch!
She turns back around towards the entrance of the diner, handily catching a small key ring sent flying towards her. It takes a moment to get my eyes on the picture, a woman in orange and yellows seeming to be the culprit. And behind her... Oh.
Oh no!
I saw a chance and I took it. There's no other way to rationalize this other than some sort of divine level prank, as the leader of the art club from yesterday is the last to enter the tiny space. Much to my despair, she seems to recognize me as quickly as I recognize her.
Ah, it's you!
It's me.
I feel like I'm missing something.
Oh, right. Haley, Millie, meet the newest art club member. Olive, I'm pretty sure their name was.
Pleased to meet you, Olive.
Her smile looks sincere, which makes the short pause beforehand even more concerning.
She got you roped into this without even having your name down yet?
She got it right on her first go, at least. I'm not in the club yet, though. Just testing the waters.
It's only a matter of time.
Uh-huh. Anyway...
Wanting nothing more than to be done with this interaction, I spin myself around and start making my way to the back of the diner, beckoning them to follow. It's hard to not notice Millie glance at the textbook I had left out as the trio pass it by. The three shuffle in, Caprice and Millie on opposite sides, Haley opting to follow in after Millie. After I pass them their menus and pretend to look busy by wiping down a nearby table, the three make idle chatter as they talk about our offerings. I'd like to say I wasn't eavesdropping, but the truth is simply that they don't end up saying anything interesting. It's not long before they settle on their orders. Loaded fries for Caprice, a chicken sandwich for Millie, and a breakfast platter for Haley. Oh, I would kill right now. The latter is a bit annoying to prep at this hour, but it's nothing I'm not used to at this point. Oh yeah, no, I would kill for a big greasy breakfast right now. I carefully sit each plate in front of its intended recipient. The fries give me a bit of the scare with the near spill, but Caprice helps save the dish in the nick of time.
Enjoy. Just speak up if you need anything else.
It smells great. Thank you.
With a small wave, I leave them to their meals, taking my seat back at my textbook a couple of booths over. My eyes continue to glaze over the writing and images. The entire book is nothing but a jumbled mess to me, a more logical approach to the arts contradicting the hands-on approach of the class. To relieve the strain from my eyes, I occasionally glance up at the diner's current guests. Millie's quick to steal a fry or two, with Caprice matching her roommate's thieving by taking a forkful of hash browns from Haley's plate. The laughter and back and forth you'd expect from stuff like this is more subdued than you'd expect, but they seem to be enjoying themselves. And then Haley spots me. I try to avert my eyes back down to my book to feign ignorance, but it's a little too late.
Hey, whatever your name was.
Haley gives 0 fucks at all times.
Olive. Hi.
Sure, let's go with that.
With Millie glancing over Caprice's shoulder and Caprice's head spun around, it looks like I'm not getting out of this. With a resigned sigh, I stand up and approach their booth again.
Don't suppose this is just you asking for a refill?
Haley seems to consider it for a moment, glancing down at her half-empty cup before deciding against it.
Maybe in a bit. Just figured you wanted to chat with you staring longingly at us like that.
Longingly. Caprice and Millie share a glance. Internally, I cringe. Thanks for wording it precisely like that, Haley. I have known you for approximately 5 minutes, and I already feel like hiding away forever.
Sorry, that textbook was giving me a headache, and there's not much else to look at in here.
Studying at work is impressive, though. You must really be invested in the art class already, huh?
Not at all, sorry to say.
Poor Caprice.
I've actually got another class tomorrow as a backup plan, in case the art one doesn't work out.
Oh, really? What kind of class, if you don't mind me asking?
Huh? Just intro to creative writing. Some small filler thing.
What?
Caprice slams both her hands on the table in shock, her head quickly turning between Millie and I. Reaction, combined with a sudden grin from Millie, has me in an indescribable level of terrified.
Well, today's just full of coincidences. I happen to be the leader of the writing club on campus. We have our first meeting of the semester tomorrow afternoon if you're interested.
She retrieves her wallet, pulls out a small business card, and scribbles a room number and time on the back before passing it over to me.
If the art club doesn't work out for you, I'd be more than happy to help however I can with your writing course.
Wait. Olive, the writing class is going to be a real challenge. If we're thinking of the same one, Millie took it last semester, and I swear I saw her writing 8-page papers every other week.
I had already been nervous about how tomorrow was going to go, and that definitely doesn't help matters.
You're exaggerating. Besides, that textbook Olive was poring over didn't look like much of a pleasant experience either.
I can't argue that point.
I can! I've had the same professor in another class. We'll hardly ever use the book. Either way, a little bit of studying and some doodling is a heck of a lot easier than what you went through.
Says the woman spending days at a time stressing about inspiration and color composition.
Caprice glares daggers into what I assumed to be her friend. Far cry from her smile yesterday. Millie pretends not to notice, going back to her sandwich after I tucked the card away in my backpack. Or back pocket. Words are blending together, that doesn't sound good. I turned to Haley, looking for some kind of explanation. I met with a raised glass, the half-melting ice clinking against it as she shakes it around.
Lemon line. Thanks.
Fuck off, Haley. You grow to like her more later, but at the start it's like, bitch, why?
Coming right up.
The next day. The writing class ran longer than I would have liked. The professor definitely belongs in that course, with a clear love of language and words. A lot of words. The syllabus didn't enter our hands until 10 minutes after the estimated end of the class. And the rigorous requirements listed on it didn't make me feel any better. Given Millie's experience in the class, I want to go into the club today feeling optimistic. But in truth, neither leader has done a spectacular job of selling me so far. I mindlessly turn the card over in my hands a few times as I navigate the halls of the building. Judging by the advertisement for a car repair shop on the front, it's probably some trash she had yet to throw away before she handed it off to me. The information on the back is a lot more useful to me at the moment. Moose! Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, no, you can still see it. I wasn't sure if I was in the way of the moose. I'm at the right floor at this point, at least. Now it's just a matter of finding the right door. The only thing unusual in this hall is a lanky guy fidgeting nervously outside of one of the rooms. The club room, as it so happens.
Huh? Oh!
Given by the way he jumps back, it seems my presence had gone unnoticed. Getting a decent look at his face, something feels familiar, but I can't quite place it. His widened eyes seem to imply he's come to a similar sort of conclusion.
Olive? Olive Penn?
Yeah, that's me. And you're...
We shared a few classes back in high school. I don't blame you if you don't remember. I go by Darren now. Darren Baker.
It's not until he offers a feeble handshake that I realize who I'm talking to. We weren't super close or anything, but having a friend of any kind around after a little over a year of solitude is enough to get a smile out of me.
I remember. Don't worry. You're looking good.
I believe the implication here is that Darren is a trans man. And I'm pretty sure if I went on the studio on Discord and asked, they would probably say yes.
And you're looking the same as ever. Glad to see college hasn't changed you much.
It's kind of killed them, Darren.
Well, I think I might be overdue for a little change, honestly.
I end my greeting with a small chuckle to play it off, which seems to satisfy him as he retains his smile. Only he knew the half of it. As much as I'd like to do a bit of catching up and continue avoiding the matter at hand, I'm becoming more and more aware of how late I'm running.
Anyway, are Are you here for the writing club too?
I glanced down at the card to triple check the details before returning my attention to him. He gives a dejected nod without so much as even glancing at it.
Yeah. That was the plan, at least.
Something up?
It's just more crowded than I was imagining it. Lots of noise and talking over each other. I poked my head in for a second, and that was enough.
Eesh. Yeah, I can't blame you.
It's good to hear that it's active, at least. I can definitely sympathize with Darren's situation, and it's a sentiment I'd echo in any other scenario, but sidestepping it is out of the question. I've already committed to checking out Caprice's club, so at this point it's better to get as many options as I can.
Well, wanna check it out together? I haven't been looking forward to it much either, to be honest. But having a friend there would help. No pressure though.
I fully expect him to turn down the offer, not being shackled to the obligation like me, but instead his face lights up.
No, it's fine. Sounds good to me.
As soon as the door opens, the noise Darren warned me about becomes obvious. The corners of my mouth already felt heavy, but that's only intensified as I discover the source of the squabbling. In the back of the room is a small group of people talking amongst themselves, scouring through the counters for supplies. I almost said contours. The lone woman sitting at one of the desks is entirely silent, tapping away on her phone as noise assaults her from both sides of the room. And in the front is Caprice, arguing with Millie.
It sure is convenient that you'd pick today to do this.
It has to be today. There's hardly any time left to get all of this sorted.
You couldn't even wait a couple hours?
If you just signed the papers, we'd be out of here in 15 minutes, tops.
The two continue their back and forth a bit longer before suddenly stopping and swiveling their heads as the door fully opens to reveal myself and Darren.
Oh, what a coincidence.
You knew I was coming. You heard Millie offer as much yesterday.
That didn't necessarily mean you'd show up. I thought for sure you wouldn't have bothered.
Millie seems eager to respond, but instead just stands there silently fuming. The threat of a retort almost scares me more than if she had actually chosen to speak up. Caprice seems unfazed by her friend's body language and instead turns her attention to the back of the room.
Hey, you guys! This is Olive, the person I was telling you about.
The woman glued to her phone doesn't react, but the four in the back turn around to face us. Having just a couple of sets of eyes on me is enough to make me want to shrink into my vest, let alone 6.
Oh, hi. I'm Allison. Nice to meet you. Caprice has told us a bunch about you already.
A small pause seems to imply that's the end of that interaction, much to my relief. Allison bumps her elbow into the arm of the woman beside her, which unfortunately seems to be enough to keep it going.
Eileen. Yeah, good seeing you. We're a bit busy now, though.
And with that, she turns back around and continues piling miscellaneous colored papers and craft supplies under her arm. With a small sigh, Allison resumes her work as well. Confident she's not going to be getting any more out of the two, Caprice focuses her attention on another pair of students. A tall and intimidating man, evil and intimidating horse. But he's not, as far as I'm aware. Casually leaning on the countertop, and a stern-faced woman watching silently as Eileen and Allison pick away at the supplies.
The big guy's Wallace, our newest member, excluding you.
And the last one?
She's not with us.
A surprising amount of venom in that response. More than I think Caprice capable.
And thank goodness for that.
Wow. Damn, Tanya.
Name's Tanya. Thanks for asking. I'm with the writing club. Millie told me you'd be coming today. Didn't mention there being two of you, though.
Oh yeah, no, I just spawned this guy out in the hallway a minute ago.
On that note,
Having had enough of this distraction, Millie makes her way to the back, makes her way back behind the desk at the front. She pulls out a pen and swiftly jots down her signature before beckoning Caprice over to retrieve the paper from her.
here's my signature as assurance that I'll finish filling out the form after the meeting if it makes you feel better. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to actually have a meeting today, so I would appreciate it if you hurried up your pillaging.
Caprice opens her mouth, ready to protest, then decides better of it. She gives the contents of the paper a quick skim. It must satisfy her as she joins her clubmates in the back of the room.
Anyway, come in, you two. I was expecting Olive, but it's nice to see someone else joining us today as well. My name's Millie. Nice to meet you.
She extends her hand towards Darren, who reluctantly takes it.
Darren. Hi.
With a small shake and a smile, she ushers us to a pair of desks, then makes her way up to the front of the room. She shuffles around in her book bag, looking for some sort of reference material.
You've got quite the fan club, huh?
The sound of my forehead hitting the desk is louder than any kind of argument Caprice and Millie could have. A sharp clearing of the throat from the front of the room is enough to drag my gaze back up, albeit slowly.
With all of that finally out of the way, it's time to begin the first writing club meeting of the semester. Welcome.
Front and center of the room, open book in hand, Millie definitely gives off a natural kind of teacher vibe.
This club's one of the oldest in the school, so we have a lot to live up to. Tanya introduced herself already. She's been helping me keep things moving for a while now. The talkative girl is Heather.
And Heather's a huge bitch. Apparently we could have done more with that last time. Giving up on her phone for the distractions, Heather finally sets it down and gives a disinterested wave in response to Millie's equally lukewarm introduction of her.
So, it's not typically this busy?
Heather smirks, though it's hard for me to gauge why.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry about the bad first impression. Things are typically a lot quieter.
I don't even need to turn my head to imagine the look on Caprice's face. I brace for a response, but oddly enough, it never comes. While I'm sure the news is a relief to Darren, I can't help but deflate a little. It's my fault for getting my hopes up, but even I expected more than 3 people. Granted, Caprice's 4 isn't exactly a huge improvement.
Don't let the size fool you, though. What we lack in quantity, we make up for in quality. Here, look at this.
She approaches Darren and I once again, passing him the book she was holding just moments prior. I lean in to catch a glimpse and am met with chicken scratch. A lot of it. There's more ink than paper, and that trend continues as Darren flips a few pages.
The club can be a great source of inspiration and technical know-how if you'll allow it. I filled up this entire notebook and a couple others just in my first semester here.
And how many pages have you filled out recently?
The smirk from earlier is yet to fade, and as a matter of fact has only gotten bigger with her new remark. A grumble from the back of the room, from Wallace if I had to guess based on the tone, follows shortly after.
Plenty, thank you. The club's recent downsizing hasn't had any influence on that.
Even with the rest of her club, all 2 of them, not really winning me over, the work Millie has on display is impressive. At the very least, I feel like I could confidently rely on her, which is a plus.
her stuff, I'll admit that. But there's only so much one person can do.
Oh my god, Caprice, stop. I jump a bit in my seat, throwing my head around to find Caprice standing over mine and Darren's shoulders, eyeing the contents of the notebook herself.
All I'm saying is that the art club, the entire club, would be able to help you. Unlike the writing club, our little circle looks out for each other.
Is she, like, reading Olive's mind?
Don't drag us into this.
Too late for that.
Without averting her gaze from the cabinet's innards, Eileen manages to swiftly shut him down.
Bold of you to hype your club up like that, given you didn't even bother to finish the paperwork to legitimize it in time for the fair.
I got a set of keys for a room and a bunch of like-minded artists. Being recognized as official would just be a nice bonus.
I'm pretty sure I have a pair of keys that you commandeered for yourself.
Hey, whose side are you on here?
Caprice's explosion is met with a small smile from Allison, and an even smaller smirk from Eileen. They don't seem to be taking this too seriously, which honestly may be a point in their favor.
Thank you for offering to share your space, by the way, Millie. We appreciate it, even if Caprice won't say so.
Come on, not you too.
You're very welcome, Allison.
Millie has a genuine talent for mixing sincerity and an underlying smugness, almost perfectly.
Anyway, if you're all done chatting it up, we're gonna need you out of here soon. We were promised 15 minutes and you've already used up 5 of them.
Yeah, we're going. Just give us a few minutes to finish grabbing everything.
Wanna help us out, new kid?
Eileen continues her work, not bothering to turn around as she addresses me. Likely for the best, given the mutual surprise on Caprice and I's faces.
Huh? If you're being dragged into the group, you may as well start getting used to it sooner rather than later.
What? No! I was gonna bring them to an actual club meeting. Show them the best we had to offer. I had plans.
I didn't expect Caprice to object before me. Eileen merely shrugs in response.
I also haven't really committed one way or another.
I've heard that one before. 3 times, actually.
Jeez, what did I do to earn all this sass today? To be betrayed like this, time and time again, it's more than my poor heart can take.
Caprice cranes her neck back and places a hand on her forehead in a display of theatrics, prompting a couple of smiles out of Allison and Wallace. Far cries from the smirk that seems permanently glued to Heather's face. The thought of Heather is enough to remind me of my current situation, and I snap back to focus my attention on Millie and Darren. The latter seems content to keep paging through Millie's notebook as a means of staying out of the conversation, but Millie is obviously trying very hard to hide her transparent frustration with a smile.
It's fine. It'll get them out of the room faster, and we'll have time to catch up after you're done. Win-win, right?
She couldn't sound more disappointed if she tried. And boy, is she trying. I don't want to flake on Millie or Darren, given I willingly put myself in here with them, but at the same time, it'll only be a few minutes, and that'll tell me way more about the art club than a fully planned and rehearsed meeting would. It's non-committal for now either way, so I guess it isn't a big deal, but it's hard not to feel anxious about it. Yep, well, we are doing the Caprice route this time. I second-guess myself for a moment, but eventually pull myself up out of my seat. Millie doesn't say anything, but the frown on her face says more than enough.
Like you said, it'll just be a few minutes. Win-win, right?
She responds with a faint nod and an even fainter smile, pushing her disappointments as far to the back of her mind as possible as she turns her attention to Darren. I wish it helped make me feel less guilty about things. As I approach the back of the room, Tanya takes notice and starts making her way from the group. As we pass each other, she gives me a couple taps on the shoulder.
Hopefully they'll stay in line if they have a newbie to impress. Good luck.
And with that, she takes her spot next to Darren and Millie as I shuffle to the back cabinets.
Howdy.
Hi.
Open that cabinet there. We need any printer paper and glue you can get your hands on. The proper stuff, not sticks.
About as warm of a welcome as I can expect. I do as she says, pulling the doors open to reveal a handful of office supplies, in contrast to the various fabrics and colored paper they've amassed into a pile on the countertop.
Thank you for the help, Olive. Even if they're small, setting up 2 tables for the club fair is a lot of work.
It's fine. 2 tables, though?
Millie's sharing her space with us, so we're helping with the writing club setup too. Fair's fair.
Caprice is quick to jump in, eager to not give Allison time to form a more generous response, surely. The relationship between Caprice and Millie is so strange. It's like they're fluctuating on how friendly they are with each other on a sentence-by-sentence basis. Even their actions are inconsistent.
So, don't take this the wrong way, but why help us out here anyway? You came here for the writing club, right?
She tries to make it sound like casual conversation, continuing to dig supplies out and adding them to the already rather large pile as she asks, but the tone of her voice betrays that pretty handily.
Well, Caprice mentioned getting your club together when we met in class the other day. I figured this might be better than forcing all of you to go out of your way for me.
Aw, see? They'd be a perfect fit.
Allison's smile reinforces Caprice's statement and forces me further into the cabinet to hide my blush.
Well, I'm glad you accepted my invitation because we've got things to discuss.
The fuck?
Uh-huh.
That's definitely up there on the list of most intimidating ways to open a conversation.
Allison was right. Caprice has told us a bunch about you already. Standard stuff. Flunking out, hoping to use the club as a lifeline.
I emerge from the cabinet, tossing a couple of stacks of unopened printer paper into their stockpile. Eileen's face remains unchanged as she continues sorting through her own mess.
I hope she said more than that.
She has. She talked about you being nice and hardworking, and being a good cook, though I'm still not entirely sure where that last part came from yet.
Yeah, she showed up at my work. I shoot Caprice a glance, whose only response is a sheepish smile.
Yeah, sure, great, but none of that is relevant to the point I'm trying to get to. You're only going to get out of us as much as you're willing to put in. Don't expect any handouts, at least not from me.
Right to the point, huh? I guess that's fair, as much as I doubt my ability to live up to the standards she seems to be expecting.
When did you get so soft, Eileen?
Wait, that's her being soft? What? That's soft?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Allison pauses her rummaging for a moment to pat Eileen's back a couple of times. Eileen freezes upon physical contact, but both resume their scavenging soon after.
Eileen may be scary, but she's right. As long as you put in the effort, everyone here will be more than happy to help. Right, guys?
Sure.
Well, if I can, I suppose. I'm not really great at drawing and stuff myself.
Better than where I'm at, I'm sure. I'd appreciate it.
Caprice shifts her eyes to Eileen to get her final confirmation. Silence hangs awkwardly for a few moments before Eileen pulls herself out of the cabinet and returns Caprice's glance.
Like I said, if they can prove they actually want to put in the effort, I'll help. But I'm not a charity case. If you're dragging them in, they're going to be your responsibility.
Oh, come on. It'll be a team effort.
Uh-huh.
It's not like she's fucking bringing in a puppy, she's bringing in a person to the club. It's a relief to hear that everyone would be willing to help at least a little, but I wish these two weren't so willing to try pawning me off to each other when I'm standing right here.
I'm capable of doing the work. I'm just trying to make sure the work I'm doing is good enough.
That sounds more than fair.
Here's hoping.
You really are playing softball today.
I need to know what the fuck she was like before. It's a good thing we're actually doing this route now. Eileen's grumbling from the cabinet signals the end of the conversation as the other club members resume their stockpiling efforts, Caprice opting to squeeze in next to me to double-check my work. I'm thankful to work in relative quiet after being grilled from the get-go, but at least I left that conversation roughly knowing where I stand with all of them. I think. With everyone focused on the tasks at hand, the pile of loose supplies starts looking hefty enough for the club to consider their job done, closing up the various cabinets and drawers as they organize the hall.
Sorry for dragging you along, Olive. Thanks for the help. See you at the fair, I hope?
One way or another, I guess. I haven't settled on anything yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm positive you'll come around in the end, though.
We'll see.
Forcibly dragging Wallace back to help me with the heavy lifting, the art club files out, Tanya eager to close the door behind them. Their absence is immediately noticeable, the air feeling just a bit less chaotic. That'd typically come as a relief, but the energy they carry as a group almost feels contagious. A thought that keeps coming to mind as I resume my conversations with Millie until the end of the meeting. The next day. Friday. Every student's favorite day of the week. Unless that's where you end up with having like 3 classes in a row and they're all like 2.5 hours each. And then by the time it's all done, you just want to fucking die. But then you have like a goddamn half-hour bus ride all the way across town. Whoops, my college experiences came back to me for a moment. Perhaps it's my imagination, but even as I head into the cafeteria, the chattering of the people around me takes on a slightly happier tone than the days before. As for me, my mind is still occupied with thoughts of clubs, classes, and my last-ditch gamble to survive this semester. My stomach grumbles. The smell of food from the tables only reminding me of my hunger. After skipping breakfast in my rush to get to school, I need something more than a cookie from the nearby cafe to get me through the day. The food here is nothing amazing, but I'm hardly picky. At least lunch will be a brief break from my worries where I can forget.
Olive! Olive, hey!
So much for that. Caprice waves at me from one of the tables. She has an uncanny knack for detecting my presence in a room, however crowded and busy it may be. I resign myself to my fate and take a seat as the woman next to her gives a small, polite wave.
Hi, Olive.
The two make an odd contrast. Allison's shy, almost nervous greeting in stark difference to Caprice's overabundant energy.
So, managed to survive Millie's lecturing after we left yesterday?
It was pretty quiet and low-key. Nothing that extreme.
By quiet, you mean boring, right?
Okay now.
Yep, it was boring and terrible. The typical writing club MO.
Fuck off, Heather. Now Heather has appeared, which can only make things better. Even though she's decided to walk up and invite herself into our conversation, she doesn't seem at all that interested in giving us her full attention. Engrossed in her phone as usual, she barely looks up to address us.
What?
Caprice is visibly annoyed, with Heather's only reaction being the corner of her mouth tugging upward. Heather's passion for pressing people's buttons doesn't stop with Millie, it seems.
Well, Olive, don't feel obligated to give them the time of day. We'll get you through the semester easy peasy. Right, Allie?
Yeah, of course.
Right again. The club is nothing more than a waste of space.
Then why are you in it, bitch?
Hey! Nobody asked you!
What? We're agreeing, aren't we?
Heather's managed to frustrate Caprice into silence. As impressive a feat as any. She seems to notice my bemused reaction, face suddenly rebounding into a grin.
I still owe you a proper meeting. You'll come, right?
How do I keep getting caught in these conversations?
We'll see.
And all the ones after that?
Oh my god, she is such a golden retriever.
Well,
Great! I'll see you then. I gotta take care of some stuff for the fair. Bye, Allie!
She shoots Heather one last venomous look before hopping out of her chair, beginning to head out of the cafeteria.
What about food?
Starving artist something something?
Already ate! Bye!
Heather seems like the Pacifica Northwest of the story. Wasn't Pacifica, like, actually a decent kid in the end? It was just that she was, you know... You know what? We haven't gone through Heather's, like, sub-story too. But I hate Heather way more than I ever hated Pacifica Northwest. Because at least Pacifica would get some sort of comeuppance for her bullshit in the episode that it was happening. We gotta wait several hours to get Heather to reveal anything. How odd. Must have just been keeping Allison company. Wait, what was that she mentioned about a fair? Or I can call out and clarify, Heather once again speaks up.
why did you even come to our club when you were already playing house over with Mommy Caprice?
Mommy Caprice? Is that how it is? Also, shut the fuck up, Heather. I'll give you a swirly. Allison takes to her feet and grimaces at the comment. I can't help but match her expression.
Please don't call her that.
Just keeping my options open.
This might be a good opportunity to help with that. I've got a member of each club in front of me, though not for long as Allison picks up her tray of food and slips it onto the nearby counter. Heather looks unmoved by Allison and Caprice's abrupt departure. She takes a seat at the table next to me, barely looking up from her phone. Occasionally, she'll sip from the can of soda she brought with her. She doesn't seem particularly enthused by the writing club, so I figure she wouldn't spare the unpleasant details. That said, Allison does seem like the honest type, even if she is more loyal. If I hurry, I can still catch her. Later, bitch. Anyone's a better option than Heather. So true. Heather's only half paying attention to me to begin with, so I quickly get up and skip over to Allison as she strides off. Sorry, I just needed a drink. I have no intention of playing Peacemaker, but it's striking how strong her feelings on the matter are.
Hey, Allison.
Allison turns to me, her frustration with Heather still simmering. She soon turns embarrassed at being caught fuming.
Hi. Sorry about Caprice running off.
No worries. She seemed busy anyway. Fair prep?
Yeah, we're all a bit behind schedule, so we've been kind of scrambling.
Heather gives a dry, huh, as she overhears the last of our conversation before wandering off toward the food counter. I hope she burns her mouth on something that's too hot. Bitch.
She's always so rude.
Allison pouts at her back as she walks away.
Do you interact with the writing club much? Outside of yesterday, I mean.
Every now and then. More lately with this fair stuff. Not like Heather's much of a club member, though.
What exactly is the club fair about? I saw it advertised earlier last year, too.
It's basically a hiring party. Like, hey kid, you want to join a club?
There's not much to it. A bunch of the school clubs set up in the gymnasium and try to recruit people. Mostly freshmen who haven't been poached yet. Millie offered to share her space, so we're sneaking in this year.
If you have a way to get new people like that, why is Caprice so dead set on recruiting me?
Caprice is really serious about the club, but you've probably noticed that already. Honestly, she's serious about everything she does. She wants to get every person possible. A dream of hers is to grow and expand the club beyond even the huge existing one. And...
She trails off, suddenly going quiet as she thinks better of continuing.
And what?
to be honest with you, I prefer smaller groups. I'm fine with how things are. Nothing against you, though. You're free to join if you want. You'd love it, I'm sure. Everyone really is nice, and we have a lot of fun. Caprice is wonderful, too. I know she can be a little overbearing at times, but she always brings so much energy.
A little too much, maybe.
Sometimes, sure. I get it. When I first met her, I thought she was pretty overbearing. I wouldn't really fault you for thinking that.
She's good at what she does, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone there is. I'm still learning, but they're always teaching me new things. But I guess what's happening is...
She taps her fingers to her chin, pausing to give her next words some thought.
Caprice wants us to be a legitimate club. A club that's official, real, whichever word you want to use. We aren't much of one right now. We barely nudged our way into the fair. Even then, we kind of cheated to get there.
If I join, will that even change anything?
I don't know. It'd take more than one person, probably.
Of course it would. More members would be helpful, but I wonder how many they'd even gain from an event like this. Then there's the fact that Allison here clearly doesn't want it. I wonder if I'd just be butting into some group of close friends more than joining a club.
Still, we're going to do our best. You should do what's best for you, too.
Thanks. Sorry for keeping you. I'll see you around.
Allison gives a quick goodbye before skipping out to try and catch up with Caprice. What I found might not have been what I wanted to hear, but at least she was honest. Now, time to actually get some food. I quietly mull things over as I head to the food counter. The art club is close and friendly. They're small because they're like a group of friends trying to be a club. The writing club isn't much. But at least Millie seems capable and eager to help. It's probably better to not even consider Tanya and Heather as factors. Oh, experience all optional choices in the prologue. Nice. Oh, yeah, because we knew we were going to do the writing club last time. So last time we talked with Heather. I'm not sure if either is a good option. Hopefully, this club fair will help me find better answers. With class still some time ahead of me, I find myself wandering the halls, going over my choices in my head.
Hey.
And then suddenly Haley. I just about bump into Haley, who's carrying some poster board and other materials.
Whoa. Hey, you need some help?
Without answering, she shoves some of her supplies in my direction, which I take. I already have a general idea of where she was heading.
The gymnasium, right?
Smart. Come on, you've been drafted.
She goes, and I follow.
So, how'd the meeting go yesterday?
You didn't hear about it?
Oh, I heard tons of things. But I'm interested in your perspective.
I would love nothing more than a 5-minute mental break from the Caprice and Millie war. Unfortunately, it looks like something I won't be able to avoid anytime soon.
Well, I'm not even entirely sure what happened. It felt like a sudden whirlwind.
Yeah, sounds like them.
As we enter the large building, I see that the area has been filled with tables arranged in rows. There are students running about, readying their booths.
Hey, where are we taking all this?
Over here.
I follow her to a table, or what's supposed to be a table anyway. Instead, I find 2 smaller booths cramped inside the same small space, covered in red and blue cloth. One has a very formal-looking sign which says, Creative Writing. The other has a very slapdash sign simply reading, Art. Clearly written by the same hand.
You get the rundown on how they're sharing a spot already?
More or less. I remember them packing up a lot more than just a couple tablecloths and posters, though.
The art club is off turning all of that into brochures and other promo material for the 2 right now. This is all just bare bones stuff.
I'm surprised Millie trusts them enough to handle that.
Haley tucks her armful of supplies safely under the writing club's desk. I follow suit, emptying my hands as she lifts the cloth up for me. Oh my god, I'm struggling tonight.
Millie gets along well enough with all of them. It won't be an issue.
Could have fooled me.
Things are just complicated right now is all. You saw how they were at the diner.
Are you talking about their friendly small talk, or them trying to poach me from each other?
That's why I called it complicated.
She brings a hand to her headphones, debating pulling them over her ears. After a moment, she thinks better of it, deciding instead to lean lazily against the writing table.
You're committed at this point, right? You're gonna be picking one or the other?
Yeah, that's about as far as I've gotten in my thinking, though.
No particular feelings so far?
Ugh, tons of feelings. Most of them dread. It all sort of cancels each other out.
Well, good luck.
Thanks.
Wait, what's up?
That was just Millie stuff. Gotta head over to the art room now.
Want me to come with you?
I've got it covered, thanks.
Once again, the headphones coming up signify the end of the conversation. Yeah, when Haley's done talking to you, you're done talking with her too. She pulls herself up from the table and starts making her way past me without any further elaboration. It may be impossible to decipher Millie and Caprice's goings-on. But trying to get a read on their roommate is an entirely different experience. I debate sticking around to catch her again, but decide against it and make my way out of the auditorium, going out of my way to leave through the opposite doors. The next day. Today marks a day so rare that I can't remember the last like it. Something so monumental the full implications haven't yet settled in. A day without school, study, or work. The sizzling of bacon rings in my ears, and smell playing on my nose. With time on my hands for once, I've decided to start the day with a simple pleasure. A taste of eggs and bacon for a late breakfast. As I nudge the bacon with a spatula, I take a sip of the steaming coffee beside me. Unfortunately, my skills in cooking haven't translated to my skills as a barista, concoction proving foul. If it weren't badly needed caffeine, I'd have tipped it out already. The little cactus sitting on my windowsill catches my eye. My pride and joy, as embarrassing as that may be to admit, easy to take care of, too.
Looks like you're doing better than me these days.
My words to the plant go unheard. Living alone isn't the easiest thing. Every chore, meal, and errand needs doing myself, after all. But it is comfortable. I can do things on my own schedule and eat at my own pace. Solitude might not be easy, nor cheap, but it is simple. Pleased with the plant's quiet and unassuming company, I take another sip of my foul coffee. A distant ping from the couch announces a received text. Considering how few people I know, it's either mom or work calling in to ask me to help cover a shift. Knowing which I prefer, I turn down the heat on the stove and walk over to pick up my phone. We can scroll. Ollie, are you home right now? Unlike me, she had work today. Now look at the time, not even noon yet. If she's texting me now, she's probably just getting off her opening shift. Yeah, what's up? Mind if I drop by for a bit? Maybe over lunch? Sure. Great, see you then. See you. She's fussing over me again, as she so often does in quiet moments. It's hard not to notice this happening more often now that I'm living alone, though she's never outright admitted that. Not that it really matters. I cherish any free time we get to spend together, and it's not like I had anything in particular planned for the day ahead. Besides, she can probably lend me some more insight. Mom sits at the small table. It's shabby, scuffed wood adorned with a small pastry box she's brought with her from the diner. It's a bit of a comfort to know that even living apart, she still brings extra treats for me. I'm thankful I had a light breakfast.
Honey, you really didn't need to cook for me. At least let me help. I was going to cook lunch for myself anyway. Whether it's for 1 or 2 people, doesn't make that much difference.
I carefully bring 2 plates over from the kitchen counter, each loaded with chicken, vegetables, and rice. Despite her protests, Mom's eyes widen at the meal as it's placed before her, still steaming away.
This is better than having to cook for yourself. You deserve better than work food every other day anyway.
She smiles excitedly at the plates, shifting the box to the side.
It looks as good as it smells. Thanks. So, how's work?
I take my seat next to her upon placing down my own plate of food. Mom talks about her day as I sit and take a knife and fork in hand.
And she's yelling at me. Her baby is crying, and her other kid, oh, I'm telling you, they had the most embarrassed look.
I never had to work in a kind of diner like they do, but I know the feeling. And that's pain. That is true pain.
But what can I do? Except apologize. And of course she didn't even tip.
Sorry I wasn't there to help you deal with that.
I'm glad you weren't there. Speaking of which, how's your day off been so far?
Oh, boring. Stressful.
What did you do?
Not much.
I sat around here, mostly just a lot of thinking.
Ollie, it's your day off. At least take some time for yourself.
With what's been going on...
Still turn up about your classes, huh?
Yeah, guess so. And things just keep getting more complicated.
What do you mean?
I explained to her about the clubs between the meeting from a couple of days ago, the upcoming fair, and the feud between the two leaders. She listens attentively, her expression varying between interest and concern. I feel myself deflate further and further as I talk, the hopelessness of the situation becoming all the clearer as I put it into words. It never quite sunk in until now just how bad my options are.
I really don't know what to do, Mom.
She has that soft, caring smile I've seen so many times in my life.
I know it's tough, but look at it this way. Even if they're fighting, the club leaders have been nothing but nice to you, right?
Sure. Maybe a bit too nice. I just don't know how things will go. My whole college career hinges on this.
You're more resilient than you give yourself credit for. I'm sure you'll pull through. Everyone wants you to do well. I know you won't regret your choice, whatever it is.
That's easy to say.
It's true, though. You're wasting your day off stressing over it. Take the rest of the day for yourself. Relax, do something you enjoy. Don't make it another day of stress. That way you'll be going to this fair with a clearer head.
If I was Olive, I'd be like, alright, nap time. Bye, Mom. That's easier said than done. She does have a point, though. Can't do anything more than I've already done at this point. It may not sit right with me that my future depends on people I barely know, but those two are who I'm stuck with. I have no choice but to gamble on this.
I'll try.
That's my Ollie.
She gives me a hug and a kiss on the forehead.
Now?
She pulls out the pastry box from earlier and places it on the table.
I brought a slice for each of us. Which one do you want? I'll let you pick first.
Inside lie 2 slices of pie, signatures from the diner we work at. One slice of blueberry and 1 slice of cherry. If I didn't know any better, I'd think she had done this on purpose. Because the writing club table is red, and the art club table is blue. And they don't show us which choice Olive makes. I love August so much. She's such a good mom. Like, she is the most supportive ever. Monday's come around again. I took Mom's advice and tried to relax after she left yesterday. I don't know if I succeeded. I feel like I've come back from an exhausting weekend. Today's the day of the fair. I'm not sure if I'm sold on either choice yet, but I don't really have time to mull it over anymore. I went over it again and again. I'm hoping seeing them at the fair today will finalize that. With the morning study over, the cafe beckons for a quick pick-me-up before going to war in the club fair's gymnasium venue. Never having been to this kind of event before, I expect chaos, especially so given the circumstances. Heading in, the place is thankfully quiet, with a scant few students quietly sipping lattes while tapping on laptops or hunched over books. It wouldn't feel unusual any other day, but right now it feels like the calm before the storm, and suddenly Haley again. A particular lanky girl catches my eye, as much for her bright getup and headphones as anything else. Haley sits quietly as she listens to her music, hand in chin with a small coffee beside her. For someone so mild-mannered, she sure stands out. She picks her head up and waves me over. Suddenly Haley. Cloudy with a chance of Haley. She's just always there. Pulling up a seat, she rights herself a bit and takes a sip. Her grimace shows that it's either cold or bad. Probably only bought it to avoid being kicked out for hanging around without ordering.
Hey.
Hi. Done with fair prep?
Yep. I helped them finish setting their tables up this morning, so I've got the rest of the day off till the car ride home.
See, that's when I'd go to, like, a couch in the school library and just nap.
It's bound to be an awkward time after the fair today.
Haley can only give a weak shrug in response.
Caprice doesn't ride with us much nowadays. Dinner the other day was just an exception to the rule.
Huh. I wonder how I should read that. The meeting was definitely a bit tense, but I didn't think it'd be to the point where they'd be avoiding each other to that degree.
Are things okay? Like, between them, I mean.
Her face remains as deadpan as ever, but I can faintly make out a raise in her eyebrows. I guess a question like that out of nowhere probably deserves a reaction like that.
They've just been having some personal stuff going on for a while, and things are volatile. Nothing you need to worry about. Probably.
Probably, she says.
Probably.
Would it make you feel any better if I said, definitely?
Olive is 100% gonna have to worry about it.
Fair enough.
I pinch the bridge of my nose in frustration, an act that apparently does not go unnoticed by her.
This stressing you out that much?
You don't know the half of it. The situation on my end is pretty dire.
You'll be fine. Promise. I mean it this time.
What, you didn't mean it before?
How do you figure?
If you're just worried about your grades or whatever, they'll both make sure you get to where you need to be. They've never let me down anyway.
Another sip of her coffee, supposedly forgetting about the reaction she just had to it. As expected, her face contorts immediately in response.
Even if that's true, being stuck in the middle of those two like this just makes the entire thing feel more overwhelming than it probably needs to be, you know?
Yeah, well, join the club.
I've been stressing about just dealing with them this morning. I can't imagine actually sharing a living space with those two. I want to feel pity for Haley, but the small smile on her face makes me second guess that decision.
Get it?
Yeah, I got it.
And the headphones go back on. Content that her joke landed, she pulls her headphones back over her ears, our conversation at its end.
Get your drink and get out there. Don't let me keep you. Good luck.
Alright. Nice talking to you.
Yep.
She didn't hear a word of that. The headphones were already on. By the time I arrive, the club fair is in full swing. What must be hundreds of freshmen, with a scattering of second years here and there, fill the hall and mill about. It's interesting to see which ones look like they're on a mission as they head directly for a particular club, compared to the others who peruse the tables as if browsing a farmer's market. Dozens of small tables are lined up with varying amounts of work to put into each of them. Piles of flyers sit on each, the odd standee or prop set up to try and catch the gaze of passing students. The clubbing club! Wow. The clubbing club. Most of these behind club tables look more bored than anything, some having checked out completely as they lean back and browse on their phones. The occasional happy shout rings out as old friends recognize each other, but for the most part it's a surprisingly subdued affair. A nice surprise that calms the nerves a little, but not quite enough to really feel comfortable. Strolling along the aisles, I casually note the more niche club entries such as robotics, fighting games, and fencing. I wish I could have done a fencing club. I probably could be persuaded to join a couple of them under different circumstances. Yes, let me see Olive fencing or playing fighting games. Nearing the end of one particular aisle, it isn't hard to spot, or should I hear, or should I say hear, the art club's table.
Looking for fun? Come to the art club. We're accepting anybody. No artsy experience required.
Sounds about right. Millie sits beside her, hands together on the table as she patiently tries to catch the eyes of those passing by. The formal act strikes me as a little put on, not helped by her occasional slips when Caprice gets louder than usual. Now these two could live together has me beat, yet here they are, with their two tables stuffed into one assigned space together. I feel like I'll never fully understand the relationship these two have. Oh, you will. Then it happens. Caprice and Millie both set eyes on their prey at the same time. Far from a fight breaking out, an intensely awkward silence reigns between the three of us as they carefully maintain their smiling facades, the occasional student passing by only exacerbating the standoff. Sighing at the cruel fate assigned to me, I realize I'll have to take the initiative.
Alright, so we all know what's happening here. Let me hear it.
If I may, the writing club's a great working environment, and you could get a lot more done in a peaceful workplace than a party. And being a real club, we have actual resources and didn't have to rely on sneaking into the club fair to even be here.
You let this happen. You don't get to say that you don't get to use that as a point against them. Even if she's too eager to bite, Millie isn't really wrong as she sneaks in a smug look to her right.
Shows how much you know. I actually did the paperwork.
And yet here you are, sharing my allocated space.
I don't need to explain anything. Olive's seen how great we are already.
Caprice on her own definitely has an overwhelming personality, but her club seems mellow enough. That combined with the fact that art class is likely to be easier overall is tempting. The writing club, on the other hand, well, Millie herself seems really into the subject matter at least. Even if the rest of the club isn't much of a factor, it'd be hard to find a better tutor.
So, have you made your decision?
Let's hear it!
Whichever club I pick, I'll have to drop the other club and the other class. There's not much chance I could do both and pull out a pass. I thoroughly enjoyed Millie's side of the story, but it is time for Caprice.
For better or worse, I'm going with the art club.
Yes! I knew you'd make the right choice!
Join the art club, for better or worse. She pumps her fist, jumping up and down. Millie frowns with either annoyance at Caprice or disappointment at me. Probably both. She quickly corrects into a pleasant smile, though.
Well, Olive, thank you for at least considering us.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't worry, you're not the only prospective member in this gym. I hope you have a wonderful time with your new club.
Thank you. Good luck.
Wonderful won't even begin to describe it!
She reaches out and grabs my hand.
Thank you!
Her hand firmly grasping mine, she shakes my arm without rhyme or reason, expelling as much energy as she's physically capable. I don't want to admit how much it hurts.
I'm counting on you.
Don't worry, it won't just be me. The entire club has your back. We'll get you there. Trust us.
It's easy to get wrapped up in Caprice's energy. All I can do is hope that she's able to live up to that enthusiasm once we get into the actual studying. As long as she and the club are willing, I want to hope I'll be okay, even if I have to force myself to believe it. Golden Retriever versus Yellow Cat. I guess yellow makes sense here. I don't know enough to know for sure, but all I can do is place my blind faith in them. It'll be okay. It has to be. That evening.
And so, to our newest member, Olive!
Caprice stands at the end of the table, raising her glass full of soda. Fortunately for the rest of us, her volume is just passable as an indoor voice. Unfortunately, she stands with such a gusto that the combined effect of her voice and movement draws the attention of almost every other table in our vicinity anyway. Content with playing along, the rest of the art club half-heartedly raise their own glasses to match her, albeit with greatly diminished enthusiasm. The urge to shrink away into my vest grows by the second, and I only barely manage to resist it. Still, though, I can't help but sink into my chair just a little. Caprice is quick to notice, eyes quickly meeting mine, her smile as wide as it's been all night.
Come on, you too!
I feel the eyes of every single person around land on me. I give her a non-committal hand wave, but she just raises her glass even higher. She sure doesn't want to drop it. In an act of surrender, I hold my cup up as well.
Welcome to the club!
The rest of the club is less enthusiastic in their following welcomes. Allison and Wallace opt a quiet murmur of agreement, obviously feeling the attention from around us as well. Eileen's response is a simple grumble. Satisfied with the response regardless, Caprice extends her glass and takes a drink, ending her impromptu toast.
Pizza again, huh?
It's tradition. We gotta do this every time someone new joins the ranks.
It feels like if it wasn't attached to her face, Eileen's eyebrow would be leaving Earth's atmosphere.
Another tradition?
If we keep adding more, we'll be eating pizza more days than not.
Is that a problem?
Oh, so I'm just an excuse for a party. Something tugs at the back of my mind, but I shake it off for now. An excess of celebrations isn't that big of a deal, assuming we still get study groups together.
Now that Olive has decided to join our club, we're up to 5 members. And how many did that other club recruit? 0?
That's not nice.
Caprice.
I'm kidding. I wish only the best for them.
I wish I could believe her, but the grin on her face tells a different story. From the moment we've left the fair, she's been beaming with a kind of competitive sparkle only seen in athletes. I can't help but feel a bit weird about it. I do need the help, and I'm trusting her to be my best bet. Still, at the end of everything, I'm just a pawn Caprice is trying to keep on the field.
Well, it was basically the flip of a coin.
So you say, but I'm sure you had your reasons. For example, it's clear we were the fun choice. Probably the most fun at the whole fair.
There are a lot of reasons, but I can't say that was one of them. It was mostly for the study help.
I don't intend on becoming your personal tutor.
I didn't really plan on that.
Then you made the wrong choice. Caprice has been running us ragged since classes started back up last January.
Okay, the assuming we still get study groups caveat hasn't gotten off to a great start. Eileen takes a small sip of her beer before continuing her thought. I chance a peek at Caprice, who's suddenly gone quiet. She's struggling with a particularly large piece of pizza, trying to catch all the cheese before it slides off. Eileen continues to seize the moment.
The ratio of asinine field trips we've been taking to actual studying is heavily not in your favor.
It's Allison's turn for a death stare, this time focused on Eileen. Surprisingly, Eileen's posture shifts and her face softens just enough to be noticeable.
Caprice should be the one to handle the bulk of it, since she roped you into this.
As long as I can pass the semester, I don't really care how.
My eyes shift downward, feigning interest in the slice on my plate as a smokescreen to think things over. I said I don't care, but so far this get-together has me feeling more nervous than I'd expected. There's vague offers of help here and there, but it's hard to imagine how much of that is genuine versus how easily Caprice seems to wrap others into her excitement. And that brings me back to the head honcho herself. The more I sit here and listen to current affairs, the more I worry that perhaps I made this decision because I got wrapped up in her energy too. Like Eileen said, I'm here because of Caprice. It's too late to walk back that decision, so I have to trust her. Freed of her pizza, Caprice finishes all of her soda in one go and pipes back up.
None of that is important right now. We're celebrating! This is the beginning of a new year!
It's already fall.
School year starts in fucking September, Wallace, you dingus. Caprice grumbles in protest at Wallace's remark as she takes the hat from her head and wrings it out as if it were a wet rag, taking a moment to gather her thoughts. After the last imaginary drop is wrung out of the poor thing, she places it atop her head once more and her face lights up.
So here's the agenda going forward. We'll draw, create, and make more than ever before. And since Olive is just entering the world of art, we'll have to cultivate in them a love for it.
She looks at me and nods proudly, beaming. I feel the urge to remind her I'm looking more for study help than my own artistic awakening, but think better of it for now. Her eyes sweep across the rest of the table.
In the past year or so, we've only expanded more and more. It started with one, me, and then soon there were 3 of us. Allie!
Yes?
Allison sits up straight, startled.
With this club, you found a new love.
Allison looks red and nervous, eyes darting around the room. She briefly looks to Eileen for encouragement, who responds with a simple shrug.
Of the arts, you mean?
Please tell me she's dating someone.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. It's just Caprice being like Caprice.
Beyond anything, the strongest power art has is to connect people. Where stuffy old words aren't enough, you can always count on the visual medium to bring everyone together. Speaking of which...
She starts moving her pointer finger from Allison to Eileen, who looks unperturbed. Allison slumps in her seat, relieved that the attention is off her. I guess she hates to be the focus even more than I do.
Not another word.
Caprice's finger glides past Eileen and lands on Wallace in a motion so clean you wouldn't think it was a last-second course correct. These two really know how to navigate each other well, even if they're like oil and water.
And not to mention Wallace. You see? This club makes artists.
That doesn't explain anything.
Eileen and I were artists long before you dragged us in here.
She kidnapped him from Millie?
Details! Point being, the club is more than capable of molding someone into an artist, and that's exactly what it's gonna do. That's you, by the way.
I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
I love the doodles. We didn't have those in Millie's route.
So the plan is simple. Create! Everything else will come naturally.
Caprice stands with her hands on her hips, seemingly done and very pleased with her speech. It takes a minute for anyone to react.
Is that all?
Sounds fine to me. The sudden shift to dramatics made me worried something drastic was about to happen.
I believe in freedom of expression, but as usual, I'll be directing meetings to help inspire you. Inspiration can come from anywhere, and when it strikes, you have to capitalize.
I wonder how many of these inspirational lines came from the internet and how many she's trying to churn out on the spot.
That sounds good and all, but how will it help me pass her actual art class?
Oh, Olive.
She gives me such a sad, pitiful look like I've just asked how to boil water.
To understand art, truly understand it, you have to experience it. Be immersed in it. There's no better way to do that than to be surrounded by it all the time.
But do you guys, like, actually study?
Seemingly trying to help the conversation, Allison raises her hand meekly to join in.
I took that class last semester. A big part of the finals is about exploring the fundamentals in your own way.
What, like actual art? So what's the textbook even for?
It'll be fun. You'll see. What's gonna be your focus, Allie?
I was thinking of trying to get into sculpting or something this semester.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Branching out is important.
Caprice emphasized drawing so much coming into this, I hadn't really considered that this club bothers with other art forms. But then the fine arts club at our school, which I didn't even have a chance to consider joining instead of this one, probably just covers just about every form of art there is.
I've been trying some new brushes.
Wallace holds up his phone to show Eileen the screen. Allison curiously leans in to take a look too. I can't see it from my angle, but trying to get closer to steal a look doesn't feel right with how new I am to this circle.
Huh, not bad. But man, a tablet just doesn't feel the same as the real thing.
I'm sure you'd be great once you got used to it.
I'm sure you would. As for me, I don't think I could ever go traditional. No undo. I don't know how you do it.
That's why we practice.
I'll just stick to digital. Thanks.
Evil and intimidating Wallace. Eileen the traditionalist, Wallace the digital artist, and Allison the experimentalist. Regardless of everything else, I could have done a lot worse with this variety if I was looking for help. As for Caprice... What does Caprice do? I've seen some quick sketches of hers in class, but I'd like to assume there's more to her than that. Guess it won't hurt to ask.
Hey, what kind of art do you do?
She gives me a mischievous smile.
Oh, are you curious?
Not for long.
She playfully taps my arm.
Oh, don't be like that. I made the posters and flyers for our club, of course. You saw some of my best work at the fair.
Are those her best examples? The posters were eye-catching, but they felt like technique had been swapped out with raw energy while creating them. I guess that's suitably on brand, but I'm not sure if pure energy and willpower are enough to help me brute force the actual technical know-how needed for a passing grade. Oddly though, those worries leave me briefly when taking in the pride and excitement she has when talking about them.
I can show you more during the next club meeting if you want.
Sure.
But only if you have something to show me in return.
I haven't even started yet, and she's already giving me homework. The thought alone of going home tonight and drawing something as simple as a straight line to present embarrasses me senseless. Nevertheless...
I'll try.
Oh no. Poor Olive. That is a great screen. And that is where we're gonna call it for tonight. We are gonna save. I'm gonna put it down here because that's our Millie route and that's our Caprice route. But yeah, we're gonna call it there for tonight. I will see y'all on Friday. We're gonna do like Bellatra or something. Tag's grandma passed away, so he's not streaming this week. So we will figure that out on the day. But until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day, rest of your night. And I'll catch y'all on Friday. I almost said Saturday. Yeah, Friday. Thanks for coming by, everybody.